Hey, Deserver listeners, love is blind. My name is Dr. Kirk Honda. I'm a therapist and a professor. If you are a cast member on the show, don't use this as a replacement for in-person services. If you need a therapist, get one. You deserve it. Let's watch.
What conversation did you have with Katie? You just don't know?
Okay, so one question that I've had about Hannah after the duck scene, What the Duck is the name of the episode, I believe, is that was Hannah jealous, or was she embarrassed, or does she just not like him? I think easiest interpretation is that she was jealous, but I didn't know. I couldn't tell. That was one hypothesis, but I was wondering if it was something else. She would say that he was giving her the ick. And then we saw at the party that they just came from that Nick was talking to Katie for a while, and Hannah was joking around with, I think, Monica, I'm not sure. And Hannah was seemingly handling it pretty well, but there seemed to be a little bit of an edge there to her about, she was saying, oh, Katie and I were best friends. Well, we used to be. And I couldn't tell if she was being funny or if she was joking in a way that was revealing something, or she was trying to say, anyway. And then when they get back from the party, she pretty quickly asks him, what did you talk with Katie about? And then there seemed to be some kind of an edge there, which I honestly didn't expect. If I would have put money down, I would have said that Hannah wasn't jealous or wasn't jealous enough. She might have been jealous if she heard the conversation, honestly. But visually, it didn't look like there was a lot of flirtation going on, at least from the edit. But if she heard, I think, what Nick was saying, I think it would have been more concerning to Hannah because Nick was doing the Rico Suave thing, kind of. It also just kind of looked like he was trying to be nice. He was trying to pump her up, and she seemed to take it that way. But anyway, so let's see how this goes.
What conversation did you have with Katie? You just don't know?
It was just talking about shit that happened.
Like what?
I mean, it doesn't help the way that Nick is responding by not having a very clear answer. All he has to say is, oh, well, see, we talked about a lot of things. We talked about how we were seeing each other in person for the first time. There was no talk about us liking each other or dating or anything like that. But she was talking about how she was worried that she was kind of doomed as a dater. She was worried about being older. And then she told me that I will slip into this mode of Rico Suave, and she said that I have more to offer others than just having that persona, which I kind of appreciated. What do you think about that, or whatever? But the way that he responds, if you didn't know what they talked about and you were jealous, and, jealousy is fine. People are like, oh, jealousy is bad. Jealousy is not bad. I think that it's pretty clear that we evolved. It's hard to know, but it's pretty clear that we evolved a reaction to loss of attachments that sometimes we will frame as being jealousy. And it's what we do with the jealousy that matters, right? So another thing is she could say, so I saw you talking to Katie, and I don't think in all likelihood anything happened, and 99% of me is fine with whatever you guys talked about, and 99% of me doesn't want to pry and be that kind of person, but it could help me if you could reassure me that the conversation was benign, or you could just tell me what the two of you, or I'm just kind of curious what the two of you talked about. It's a different approach, right? It's owning your feelings. It's not blaming or accusing. It's not being hostile. The other thing that I'm wondering about Hannah in this moment is that she seems to have a need to uphold the notion that she is superior and that he is inferior, that she is mature and he is immature. And it's possible that a good amount, if not the entire amount of motivation to grill him about this is purely motivated by that and not by a sense of jealousy. But let's watch.
You just don't know.
It was just talking about shit that happened.
Like what? Can you explain?
You feel some type of way about it.
Well, yeah, because my best friend in the whole wide world and my fiance are talking, and you guys are giggling, having the best time of your life. It's annoying.
They edited it. Hard to know if Nick provided some detail. He hasn't yet, which he doesn't have to, but it certainly would help. If I were Nick, I'd be thinking, okay, how do I reassure her? What is she looking for here? And this is a tip for all y'all in relationships and in every scenario, whether it's acquaintances or friends or coworkers or spouses or kids, is we are almost always indirectly talking about our needs and making requests through indirect means, meaning that right now she is trying internally, I think, to express something, but it's indirectly being expressed. What we're receiving, I think, but that's the problem with indirect communication is you have to take guesses, but I would guess that she internally has a need for reassurance that he is not going to leave her and that he is not flirting with others and that he thinks that Hannah is attractive. Maybe that was another question, once he sees Katie or something like that. So she has a need for that. There's nothing wrong with that. But the way it's coming out is through hostile interrogation and accusation. And we all do this all of the time. It's actually startling to note how much of our communication about the most important things in our lives to people that we supposedly trust and love is done through indirect means. Did that sentence make sense? We will feel distant. We will feel lonely. We will feel hurt. We will feel rejected. We will feel bored. And we, like just along boredom. Kids don't say, hey, could you play with me? I mean, sometimes they do, in best case scenario. But often they'll just say, there's nothing to play with, or I don't have good enough toys, or something like that, And as a parent, usually we're good at detecting that because kids don't even know their needs necessarily yet to communicate them directly. But anyway, it would be helpful if she could communicate that more directly. But if people don't, because they don't, then if you're in the Nick position, then it helps to detect or ask. So, Hannah, are you worried that I was flirting with Katie? Is that what I'm hearing? Or you just figure that that's happening, or take a guess and you say, so before we move forward, Hannah, I just want to tell you that nothing went on with me and Katie. We were talking, but mostly it was just a surface level conversation. And this is, these are the three things we talked about. And, you don't have everything to worry about with Katie. And, although she's an attractive woman, you're much more attractive to me, or I don't really think about other women in that way. You're the only one for me, that kind of stuff. I mean, I don't know if that would make sense, but something along those lines, reassurance around attractiveness. So, let's see how this goes.
It meant nothing to me.
You said the person you need closure with is Katie.
I didn't need closure.
That's what you said.
I didn't say I
What
need
did you
closure.
say?
It said if there was someone I wanted to talk to, it would be Katie.
Yeah, so I think they're both intoxicated. I don't know about her, but I think he is. And he might be the sort of intoxicated person who shuts down and doesn't want to talk, or has trouble talking, kind of has that look to it. She might be the sort of intoxicated person who gets hostile. I don't know. But he is being evasive. I don't know if he used the word closure before going to the party, but he was saying that he was looking forward to talking with Katie, which you would imagine would be for closure at best, really. So him evading is not helping. It's a similar thing to what Garrett was doing when he was confronted. It's evasion, right? And that does not help. Even if you think the other person is accusing you of something unfair, like the way that Taylor and Hannah were talking, it's better to, at the very least, consider it, because you're on delicate ground. So to evade makes it look like you're trying to hide something, which it's now kind of starting to look like to me. If he had nothing to hide, then he would just say, oh, well, here's what we talked about. But in terms of the edit, he has evaded this entire time. She's asked him, what'd you talk about? Oh, well, end of sentence in terms of the edit. So you wanted closure. So what was going on? Oh, I didn't say that. And it's like, well, you kind of did in the beginning. Like he could say, well, no, it wasn't closure as much as I was just really curious about meeting. Maybe it was kind of closure because we never really got a chance. Well, right. That's what he was saying. I think. At least that's what they were talking about between the two of them, because he was basically saying that he got ghosted in the pods and was just curious about that.
So you got what you wanted.
Right. I'm a man.
So this is where I'm frustrated.
Did I miss something? Right, I'm a man. What is happening? Let's rewind.
It meant nothing to me.
You said the person you need closure with is Katie.
I didn't need closure.
That's what you said.
I didn't say I
What
needed
did you
closure.
say?
It said if there was someone I wanted to talk to, it would be Katie.
So you got what you wanted.
Right. I'm a man.
I don't know if that was editing shenanigans. Kind of hope that it was, although I'm trying to imagine how it would have been edited to explain what in the world is he talking about. I think he's intoxicated, so that's one. Two, okay, I'm a man. So my only guess is that he is saying men want to put eyes on a 3D version of a woman that they had a thing with, or is that what he's saying? Or once I saw her Instagram, I'm a man. I want, but I don't think he would say that if that were true to Hannah in the situation. Right, I'm a man, or I'm a man. I'm a man. I'm curious. I think there's a good chance that y'all know or are more in his cultural pocket or something. I mean, as someone that lives in masculinity and was raised in 70s, 80s version of masculinity, which, involves Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone and Steven Seagal, Van Damme, but also Billy Crystal and Robin Williams. So usually I'm like, well, yeah, I know the script. This one, I have no idea. I want to rewatch it again just to make sure I'm not missing something.
What did you say?
It said if there was someone I wanted to talk to, it would be Katie.
So you got what you wanted.
Right. I'm a man.
Yeah. So I think what he's saying is that Katie is attractive, and because I'm a man, I'm compelled to want to talk to her. I don't know.
So this is where I'm frustrated. I'll explain it. Katie, best fucking friend in the world. Today, when you tell me that Katie is someone that you're intrigued to see.
I wasn't intrigued to see her. I wanted to have a conversation to ask, hey, the first 3 days, we ranked each other one. Why didn't I see you the fourth day?
Right. So some might call that closure. It's fine if that's what you don't want to call it. But what does being a man have to do with that? What? And I find that when people struggle with understanding themselves and communicating about it, they will resort to these excuses or something. Well, yeah, I look at porn. I'm a man. Well, yeah, I shop a lot. I'm a woman or something. Like you're fighting and you're just like, hey, you don't understand. I'm of this group and you're not. Let me just say this. And then the conversation is over. So I'm guessing that's what's happening. He doesn't have a way of defending himself. It would be so easy. You wouldn't even have to defend yourself if you just said, Hannah, I wasn't doing anything. I didn't want to have a conversation with her. Maybe he feels beaten down and he is, speaking through a filter, worrying that every word he's going to get in trouble with. There'd be reasons to believe that. And he's tripping over his own words and he's not adept enough. And, this would point in the direction of the hypothesis that Katie had to some extent and that I've had about his Rico Suave persona, that he adopted a template that is out there in culture because he doesn't know what to say because he doesn't have a lot of practice and he doesn't have a lot of connection with his inner world. And, he just responds to what other people are saying. And in this moment, he's not going inward. He's just like reacting out of fear and trying to guess what's going to get him out of trouble instead of grounding himself and thinking, okay, where am I? Because even if he was interested in Katie, or maybe that's it, maybe that's what's happening, it wouldn't be strange that he would meet Katie and feel safer. At the very least, it's not like his experiences with Hannah, and think, maybe I made a mistake. And Katie was his number one until he got ghosted. So upon meeting her and reconnecting with her, maybe in this moment, it is a threat that he was talking to Katie and he is worried if he talks about anything, he's going to reveal it.
Mm-hmm.
She said, you were some of the guys I dated in the past. Okay, I totally get it. I know you didn't want to see me. That's totally fine. I'm happy with Hannah, and that's that.
Okay, that was just 3 seconds that you just explained, but why did you have a 40-minute conversation then?
She's a cool girl.
She's my best friend.
Okay, so she says 3 seconds, 40 minutes. So she's not listening, which isn't helpful. She's determined to go after him. So I'm guessing that even if he was upfront, there isn't any pleasing Hannah in this moment. It wouldn't be hard to imagine that. Which, if it is jealousy and the burning rage thereof, then there's a chance that all the time, for 40 minutes, I'm guessing that's an exact. She's been doing a little bit of that this time as well. That with the duck thing when she was reinventing and probably believes it to be true, the narrative in her head, but it's not what happened. Like she said that the woman called her a bitch, right? And it wasn't true. She was inventing something. Now, she could be knowingly exaggerating, but often it's more often the case that people are receiving the information and encoding it with their own way of feeling, and they're reinterpreting it, or when they're recalling it, it's filtered through their emotions, and then, or they're just trying to make a point, and they're not usually called out on it. But she's doing a little bit of that here. So 40 minutes, but at the very least, let's say 20 minutes, even 15 minutes, that'd be a while to be in Hannah's shoes. And if she is a jealous person, the other thing here is the disrespect, because that's what she was saying about the duck situation. It was disrespect. There's different versions of jealousy, and there are things that can look like jealousy, but aren't actually, because, to me, the core of jealousy is you're worried that your partner's going to leave you and you're worried about attachment loss. And that is probably present. But the disrespect word is particular in that she might have traumas and defenses around respect, and that would fit very well into the superior, overly mature, smarter teacher role that she very much feels like she needs to establish in her mind and with others, in that she would need people to understand that she is not below, right? And that she is above. And if he's disrespecting her, right? Like, I want deference, I want compliance, I want obvious signs of loyalty and respect to me. I mean, she's not over the top with this, but when there's a question, that's what is present in her mind, and it's possible that's what was tweaking her in that moment with Katie. It wasn't necessarily jealousy only. It was everyone is seeing this. Everyone is seeing that Nick is smiling and laughing with this other woman that they had a connection with, and I'm over here looking like a chump. I'm being humiliated right now. How dare he do this to me? You know, that kind of, and then whatever negative feeling is happening all the time that he's with Katie, and then presumably they didn't really connect after that point. The drive home, they get home, and the anger, it just festers. It just gets worse and darker and often bigger with people the longer that it sustains. And then I think we might be seeing some irrational volcanoing of that. All right, well, if you like what we do on this channel, one way that you can keep the train moving down the tracks is by becoming a YouTube member or a patron on Patreon. To become a YouTube member, click the join button below. It is the financial fuel that keeps this thing afloat, which, as a small business owner, I worry about at times. So only if you care to, and if you can't afford to. And everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.